It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Right at the last minute, I've changed which beer I was going to review. Some of you know that I do my kind of beer reviews in little mini sittings. It would be pointless me setting up the camera, just doing one beer review, editing, putting it all up on YouTube. So I like to do things in little small batches, just to keep things kind of ticking over and making my life a little bit easier, to be honest with you. So I was checking the price. I went to Tesco. Now Tesco have just launched 2 new Northern Monk beers. Faith in Futures, Northern Monk, Tank Petrol, 6% ABV, Hazy IPA, and this beer called Heretic Hazy IPA, which is 6.5% ABV. Now, being a beer judge, looking at these 2 beers and seeing they're both hazy IPAs, they're both available from Tesco, what separates it apart and which one do I review first? Initially, before I looked at the price, I was going to go Tank Petrol because it's 0.5% lower in ABV. But I've changed my mind. And the reason I've changed my mind is that I was just looking at the price of these beers. So this beer, or let me start off where I was with the Tank Petrol. This Northern Monk Tank Petrol Hazy IPA, which I've had another beer called Tank Petrol before from Northern Monk. So this might be a rehash of a beer that I've already reviewed maybe a few years ago. This beer is £4. So it's lower in the ABV, but it's £4. So the reason why I'm reviewing this first is that even though it's 6.5% ABV, this one was only £3.50. So in my thoughts, I'm thinking they've used a little bit more malt to get it to 6.5% ABV, but they've obviously either cut back on the hops or something along those lines, because the beer is 50p a can cheaper. So that's the only reason why I'm reviewing this before the Tank Petrol is because it's 50p a can cheaper. And I think the Tank Petrol might be a little bit more flavoursome. I don't know for sure. The best thing to do is to get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Interesting that they used the beer name for this to be called Heretic. I know there's a Heretic Brewing Company in America. I've had some Heretic Brewing Company beers. I've not heard from Heretic for a long time. If you're an American fan watching, or if you're a European, British fan, anywhere in the world fan really, and you like Heretic beers and you know a little bit about Heretic, let me know in the comments box. Are Heretic still brewing beer? I've not heard from them for a long time. So, hazy beer in the glass. We got a 1 to 2 finger white head, good levels of carbonation rolling up the glass, and it's a kind of strawish coloured hazy looking IPA, exactly what it's supposed to be and look. Looks quite good. Let's get the aroma. Smells good, this. Smells good. And so it should for £3.50. So it should. I'm interested to get all of the beer into the glass because I know Northern Monk, they do some can conditioning. I just was able then to get a little bit of that sediment into the bottom of the glass. It was just a speck of sediment there making its way down. So let's get the aroma. It smells good. It smells good, tropical, kind of pineapple. Passion fruit, mango. It smells lovely. Oh, if I managed to Sip some of the beer. A little bit spicy, peppery. It smells fantastic. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. We've got a real windy day out there. I'm not sure if you can hear any of it with the microphone picking any of this up, but it's really windy out there today. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's very 2021, 2022. I've had numerous beers from numerous breweries. Let me rephrase that. I've had plenty of hazy IPA from numerous breweries that have this very similar kind of hoppy take. Let me think of the word. Recipe. It's almost like it's an open secret between 6 to 8 breweries in the UK that have. It almost feels like they've shared this kind of like they found the holy grail with producing hazy IPA. And it's almost as if it's an open book, it's an open secret how to brew these hazy IPAs and make a decent profit, or maybe not a decent profit, but make some kind of profit from the likes of Tesco. I've drank this kind of beer on a number of occasions, whether it's been from Magic Rock, whether it's been from North Brewing Company, Northern Monk. It's very kind of, not to put the beer down, but it's very samey. It's very samey. It's almost like it's a shared recipe. If this was a blind tasting, which a lot of you have asked me to do and find it quite difficult because I have to introduce the can and show the beer and talk about the brewery, and how can I possibly do any of that in a blind tasting? But if this was a blind tasting and you told me this was a hazy IPA from Tiny Rebel, there would be no reason for me to argue that case. I would probably say, yeah, this could be from Tiny Rebel. If somebody told me this is a Magic Rock beer or a North beer, or you know where I'm going with this, Vocation. If this was a Vocation beer, I would kind of just nod my head in agreement and go, yeah, it's a pretty decent, solid beer from the likes of Vocation or North or Tiny Rebel or Magic Rock or Northern Monk. It's tropical, it's pineapple, it's passion fruit, it's mango. It's almost as if if you get those three flavors in the beer, pineapple, mango, passion fruit, then you've hit this kind of holy grail in getting people to buy your New England IPA or your hazy IPA. Look, Northern Monk are a business. They're a business that obviously have to make a profit. This type of thing happens. It happens. It almost sounds like I'm being negative. I'm not being negative here. I'm just being always honest, but sensible. I'm being sensible with it. I know from being at beer trade festivals that, like the food industry is top secret. Nobody talks to one another in the food industry. They all keep their secrets to themselves. They all keep their recipe to themselves. But the beer industry is very different. It's very, very different. All of the CEOs, all of the managing directors, all of the owners of the breweries, all of the brewers and the brewing people, they all get together and they all get along wonderfully well with every single other brewery in the UK. They all get on at these festivals. They'd all hug in. They'd all kind of high-fiving. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful because I'm part of that as well. I go to these festivals and everybody comes, you're chatting. They feel like they feel like your brothers, an absolute kind of fantastic brotherhood. But at the same time, I think the reason for that is because it's alcohol infused, isn't it? After a few beers, tongues wag, don't they? Tongues wag, people chat, and yeah, of course, maybe recipes. 11 o'clock at night at a beer festival, recipes slip and people chat and people talk. And I think it's not so what I'm saying is it's not like it's a club or a closed club between a certain amount of breweries that make it into Tesco. I'm not saying it's a club or it's a little gang of brewers or anything like that. I'm saying that maybe the people who go to these kind of maybe supermarket beer awards or whatever, supermarket awards, and they all have a beer and they all chat and they all go, hey, I've got this fantastic recipe that everybody wants to drink and everybody loves and we can make some money. We can make some money out of it. It's decent. It's decent if you love that kind of tropical passion fruit, pineapple, mango concoction of hops and flavors, then you will love this beer. You will love this beer. You really will. Hazy, juicy, tropical. For me, I think it's good enough for an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. The most important feedback that the brewery want to hear from me is, would I buy another can? I suppose if I was in that mood to drink kind of like loads of hazy IPA, then probably yes, I would buy a can or two. If I wanted a session, a load of beer and a barbecue, then probably not. It's a bit too strong for me personally. I end up saying stupid stuff when I've had a drink, so I tend to steer away from the stronger stuff now. So yeah, I would buy I would buy it again singly. I'd buy another can, I'd sit in the garden and I'd drink another can and sun shining down and boiling hot. Yeah, freezing cold kind of tropical beer. What's the go wrong, 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.